This is not financial advice. I am not a financial advisor. Before taking any action based on the information provided on this channel, it is recommended that you seek the advice of a professional licensed financial advisor.
Let's do this.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the channel. It is Saturday, August 13th, and we're going to dive right into the charts on Bitcoin. This is the 30-minute chart, and you know how much I like wedges here, and you can see that we have a hit here, a hit here, a hit here, a hit here. This one actually misses, and then it works its way all the way up here and comes back down and out. So we got, again, the 1, 2, 3, 4 break. So that's what's happening in the short term. If we jump up to the 16-hour chart, you'll see that I've been watching this develop here. This was a candle that shot way outside the Bollinger Band. And if you're unfamiliar with the Bollinger Bands, that is the black cloud, with the way that I have it here, drawn in the background. And you can see that this was the line of it. And this shot all the way out here. Similar situation here. It shot considerably above it. Now these yellow lines are what I just showed you on the 30-minute chart. We'll get rid of those for now for clarity. But these two big candles here are indicating that there's a lot of sell-off when we're getting that high. And, you know, it's been breaking these, the Bollinger Band on the 16-hour quite a bit. Like this happened in a row, which forced it down. This didn't actually break it. Then we get a break here, a break here, break here, and now a break here. And quite frankly, I think we're just running out of steam. Now, if we look at just the Ichimoku cloud, the green and the red lines here, this is indicating that we're going to be doing some consolidation. The trend on the 16-hour is here. And this is the conversion line. So we've got the red line is the base or the 26-day trend of the market. And the green line, which is the Tenkin, is the conversion line. So this will go with the market more. So you see how down here the red is staying like this. Well, this went up because the market went up. And then indicating that the further the conversion line, like the market trend here, I guess, is going versus the baseline, which is how it's been for 26 days. This is kind of more like a moving average, I guess. Then it'll pull these candles back down as the green and the red start to separate. See, as you can see here, these are not really separated. So this is probably going to imply more consolidation, but because it's also creating a distance between the candles and the conversion line, that indicates that it's going to be pulling back a bit. So if we zoom out and look at some other time frames, we'll get a better idea. This is the daily, and you can see here that on this last candle, this green line jotted up, which is creating, again, more distance between the two. And with that greater distance, there's almost more pressure being applied to the candle to come back down to the red line. So this goes in line with my narrative that I think that, you know, we're in for, I don't want to say a crash, like it may not be that big, but definitely a reversal from this bullish activity that we've seen since June back here. We also have this upward narrowing white wedge developing, or it's pretty much developed at this point, inside of this larger broadening upward yellow. And both of these, if you've been following me the last few days and so on, you've heard me talk about how both of these need to be breaking down. There's also this smaller yellow upward broadening wedge here that we've been bouncing back and forth between. We hit there, 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 and now I think we're going to work our way back down, ending the white wedge, ending the orange wedge, and heading down towards the yellow wedge, where we may get a little bounce like this, and then it'll break down out of that. And that's what we're waiting for. What I really want to talk about is here on the 4-day chart. You can see, you know, our highest peak on the RSI down here correlates with this. So this highest peak is not the all-time high. You know, this one here is correlating down here This one here is over here, and so on. This is what just transpired last night. We came up and we just nicked this. But as it's wicked down, because the 4-day obviously hasn't closed, and you saw here on this candle that it's turned into a wick at this point, an upside down hammer as it's often referred to. So that looks like an upside down mallet essentially. Well, when it did that, at this zoom level, this looks like it hit. So we've got 1, 2, 3, actually, it'd be this one here, 3. And then this would be a hit. I've obviously got to move this. I'll explain why that's down here in a second. And then we had the 5th, which is usually the breakout. But here's why I think that's not going to happen. A lot of people are thinking that this was the bottom, and they very well may be right. But I don't think this has actually reached that line. I think we're in for a turn down like this. They could come pretty low before we eventually get a breakout like that. And if you zoom in, you'll see that this one is touching. You'll see that this one is touching, but you'll see that this one isn't. So let me zoom in for you really quickly here. See that? No matter how much you zoom, it's actually touching. This one is doing the same. Zoom in some more. It's touching. But if you come down here, you can see that we're not touching. And I think it's just going to miss it, and it's going to come back down. And some people might say that's nitpicky, but the more that you watch these charts, and the more that you zoom in and out, and you really see the 1, 2, 3, 4 break in action, and I've been doing this for 2 years. I've been really heavy into wedge trading, and you'll see patterns here that indicate that it's surgical like that. It's that precise. It really does do that. And there's exceptions to every rule, but they're staggeringly rare, especially when you get on these higher time frames like a 4-day. When you take that into consideration with what's going on here with the Tenkan and the Kijin, excuse me, on the Ichimoku cloud, you'll see that we're going to be pulling this down into this space, and then I think we're going to be breaking out of the yellow, like I said. And when that happens, that's going to correspond with what I showed you on the 4-day right here, as it'll come down like that. And I'm not saying that we're going to hit down here, but if it falls much further, we will hit down here. And then it'll come back up and challenge that line again. And if that happens, then you're talking about having to move this line down to wherever that swoops in. So if it swoops down like this and then breaks up, then this is no longer our 4th hit. This becomes our 4th hit, and then this becomes our 5, which is the breakout. As far as the short term is concerned, jumping back to the 15-minute, looking at the cloud here, this is indicating that we're going to be going down a little bit more. On the 30-minute, when the green comes down and crosses like this, but the red shoots up and stays up, this indicates a little bit more consolidation. It could even result in this kind of coming back up for a second before we go down further. So you can almost consider it like a parachute coming out the back of a drag car. It's just slowing it down a bit. Whereas when the green dropped below, the red kind of came up with it like this and started heading in the similar direction, that's going to be a quicker decline. This is the 1 hour, and you can see that when the green started separating here, the red held strong, it pulled it down into it. But on the 1 hour, now these are not really reliable charts. They're just not. So these change all the time. Whereas if this was like the 4 hour, there would have to be some serious activity going up to allow for that red to be pulled up, but not on the 1 hour. So, you can see that this has gone up a little bit, which is a bit of a bullish signal, but not significantly. So, I certainly wouldn't be placing any bets based on that tiny little move. And then on the 2 hour, it's not a huge space here, but, as they started to separate, this pulled it down in again. So you can see how that story is consistent. you don't have a big space like you do back here, or even like you do back here. So, but a space is a space, and you can see that this is running out of momentum here, because this was a high and then a higher high, and now we're not, so much in a higher high. Now, yeah, you can make the argument that, well, it's not played out yet. It's possible, but we've already got a pullback. So, it could be like this, where you had the pullback here and then it took off. So this could be that before we get to a whole new high. But for that to occur, for instance, you would also need to eliminate the 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd have to change it up, because in this yellow, we've got our 1, 2, 3, 4. Sorry, not yellow, orange. So if this then does one of these numbers and goes up higher, then this becomes 2, and this is gone, and this would become 4. So we'd have to look into that. But I really don't think that's going to happen based on everything else I'm looking at, and especially when you jump out and you look at that 2-day here, where you've got the green and the red. This separation here on a time frame like the 2-day higher up is an extremely significant signal that we're going to be coming down to this line, which is 21.8. Jumping back out, looking at the 4-hour, we've still got the space here in the cloud, so I think we're going to pull back down in here, but nothing's really changed. You can see that it's been staying consistent since August 11th, where this candle came down to meet the TAQ line, which is the green line. And continue up, we got a 5-hour, same, 6-hour, same, 7-hour, same, all the way through. Okay, the 8-hour, apparently this move up here would be a bullish signal, but you can see that the green went up so much further that I think you're going to have this jolt out on the next 8-hour, which starts at noon. So this might jot over, and then this space is bigger than this space, which is bigger than this space, and so on, indicating that we're going to be pulling back down in here, which again falls in line with my narrative that we're going to be coming down. And then continuing, 9 hours the same, 10 hours the same. The 10-hour, it looks like it's even less of an incline that it came up. And this one is almost more than on the 8-hour. So this, goes sideways here, you're talking about pulling back in. And then this space is bigger than this space. And this pulled it all the way through down to the orange line. Continuing, 11-hour, 12-hour. Okay, when these don't move like this platform still wants to pull this back in. But when the mouth opens, so to speak, and the TAQ stands up, and the Kijun continues to go straight, it'll pull it down into there. And the next 12-hour is at 8 p.m., so it'll be when the day closes. So if we see this happen when the day closes, that's when you're going to know with even more certainty, not that there's anything ever that's certain, that this is going to be pulling down in. And then here's that 16-hour chart where we've got these way outside the Bollinger Bands, and the giant wicks indicate that it just couldn't hold it. There was a lot of sell-off, and that is another bearish sign. So when the next 16-hour candle hits at noon, if this jolts up, you got more of the same. Another strong indicator that it's going to be coming back down in here. And if you just follow these lines out too, here, these go straight out, and that's not, they're not going to hold like that, but it's showing the exit being, down in here as it pulls these in, even if they stayed straight. But it'll pull it in sooner when this stands up, or rather, if it stands up. Here's the 20-hour. We've got more of the same. And then the daily, this one gave us this tick up, which when the TAQ ticks up, like I said, and the Kijun continues, it's more bearish indicators. Not that we need any more. Good Lord, we have a ton of them. So that's it for my video today. Like, share, and subscribe if you want more of this stuff, or if there's any other coin or stock or commodity or whatever that you want me to do a technical analysis on, I'm happy to do that. Just leave your comments below. You can also send me an email at taqcapital@gmail.com, and I'll respond to those. and let you know when I'll be getting around to doing this. I'm following Bitcoin right now predominantly because the market is. I mean, you've got coins that don't even really know what they're doing. I mean, Ethereum included. And I'm not saying that Ethereum didn't have bullish news, but it's every time Bitcoin does something differently, it does it more drastically. So Bitcoin goes up a little bit, Ethereum goes up a lot. Bitcoin comes down a little bit, Ethereum comes down a lot. And depending on what the news is doing, that down might not be a lot. It could be the same as Bitcoin. It might even be a little bit less. But Ethereum has been absolutely screaming lately. So that has to come down at some point. And I can do a video on that later today. So stay tuned for that. But thanks for watching, guys. Like I said, like, share, and subscribe. I appreciate you. And I'll catch you in the next one.